7 days locked into Warrior's new Paragon spec. After nearly 2,000 hours on Warrior and way too much of that time spent on quickzerker, this thing might actually steal my main build slot. Over the last year or so, I've been doing an experiment where I spend a month with each profession in Guild Wars 2 because I spent way too long just on my Warrior and not seeing everything this game actually has to offer. 30 days works out to be about 7 days per specialization, 3 elites and 1 core spec per profession. Then ArenaNet went and messed it all up by adding a 4th elite spec for every class, so now I've got to go back and do another 7 days on each one. Thanks, I guess. For Warrior, I actually tested Paragon in the Elite Spec beta, so I came into this with some actual real expectations for once, and I wanted to answer 3 questions for you Warriors out there. Number 1, how does the damage actually feel? Number 2, how survivable is it, especially solo, which is pretty much all I play? And number 3, can it carry me through finishing the Shipwreck Strand Mastery? That last one definitely did not go the way that I hoped. Let's start with the big one, damage. After all, if this is to be a reliable spec for me as a solo player, this is a big thing. Damage was one of my big issues with Paragon in the beta, as was a lot of people based on ArenaNet's response in their blog post. I hit the shores of Castora to test out some of my favorite weapons: staff, spear, greatsword, and the old reliable dual axe. Now with greatsword and spear, I was immediately seeing some much better numbers, including up to 50k 100 blades in some group events, which was awesome. Dual axe had great damage output too. I was seeing some really high numbers with whirling axe, and as we all know, a cran eating warrior like myself, big numbers, oonga boonga, dopamine. After comparing my stats to when I tested Paragon in the beta, I did realize that I was using Berserker on this live build compared to Celestial on the beta build, so I had to fix that. And for some reason, just swapping stats around on what I had, I couldn't drop my stats low enough to match up the power. I didn't want to spend forever figuring this out, so I just needed to get close enough. So I just got half naked, much to the discomfort of the technicians in the training area, I'm sure. But, you know, luckily Tyria has yet to develop a human resources department specializing in monsters, cat people with guns. Now, strengthening stances and brisk pacing bring in some serious impact now to these builds, and even without any group buffs and taking my stats way down more towards the build I had in the beta, I was still hitting around 30k whirling axes in the training arena with just dual strike and find their weakness. This was super helpful in making life easier for working on the mastery achievement. Not needing 5 business days to take out some veteran and elite enemies was super helpful. And even the staff was clocking 2 to 3.5k auto attacks, and even more with specials, obviously. But the real gem was the survivability that it brought. It really had a chance to shine when I finally had a Creation 23 make it past the bubble and sacrifice phase, with one massive problem. This was a champion and it was just me, a ranger, and his pets. I figured we were cooked, Paragon or not. So, you know, I typically have very little success taking down champions in group events like this, but it was the first time in 5 tries that I'd actually seen this phase, so I figured I would just give it a shot. And to my surprise, even when dropping to half health using spear to DPS, I was able to pretty reliably swap back over to staff and keep myself topped up while doing my best to keep the ranger, who wouldn't fucking hold still, alive as well. And trying to tank the Skelly Boys this Jurassic Park reject was summoning. It took us nearly 5 whole minutes, but as long as I kept my staff out pretty reliably, I was basically invincible during this fight. And let me tell you, it's really nice to be able to heal myself by using more than just blood reckoning and doing damage. But to really test this survivability, I had to abandon Castora for a brief moment to go try my hand at the single most difficult piece of content manufactured in 13 years developing Guild Wars 2. This frog. But before we get to the frog, I have the December gem code giveaway going on right now. You can enter to win one of 400 gem codes, thanks to ArenaNet for the gem codes. down in the description, or QR code here or here or here or here. I don't know where I'm going to put it in editing because I'm definitely not recording this while editing the video. I definitely wouldn't have forgotten to record this when I was in front of the camera previously talking about this frog is the real skill check. And while I could never fully solo him because people just kept showing up, I did go toe to toe with him all the way down to 60%. And he never really dropped me below roughly half health. But then two very helpful adventurers showed up to help me, ruining everything. So I just went and jumped off the cliff. So with more experience than just the hour and a half I spent in the beta test, motivation was much more reasonable to keep balanced on Paragon, especially in group content. It is pretty bouncy at times, and it is a pretty fun mechanic. I know a lot of people seem to be tired of constant Paragon wings, but I also saw many comments in the beta upset that we didn't have the Paragon wings, so I don't know. I'm just going to take up as much screen space as I can. I'm a big ass cat with big ass wings. Just be thankful I'm too lazy to get tonics and stuff to be even more obnoxious. And you know what? It's not like you can even see all the AoEs in the meta events anyway. Just face tank it like the rest of us casuals, okay? Now, I will say with Paragon, it was zero worries to finish up the Shipwreck Strand Mastery achievement, but not for the reason you might think. See, when I started this challenge and I had set my goals, I didn't really think to actually check my achievements. And I basically had no serious combat ahead of me to finish this. Creation 23 was the biggest thing. I spent most of my time for it running around talking to people, interacting with graves, chasing down a pirate cat. So I guess objective complete. But quite frankly, after all these years, I'm just happy to have another spec that I can rely on and enjoy. It feels really good in casual play. Plus, I can always swap out brisk pacing for feverish pulse to bring alacrity to the group and say more than high DPS when I join a group. But there's still a bigger question that I still need to answer after this week. Is Paragon going to be my favorite of the 9 new elite specializations? Well, I have no idea, but if you click right here, you can check out a playlist of the other of these 8 specs, or at least however many I've finished by the time you watch this video. And if it's not there, then you should just click whatever I put there anyway so that the algorithm gods can bless my adventure. And until the next page of the codex, safe travels, my fellow adventurer.